Hi there, I'm Shawna Khorasani. I'm an LGBTQ screenwriter and director. What I've done so far is a literary inspired web series adaptation called The Adventures of Serena Berg, which is adapted from a play called Cyrano de Bergerac. And I've also done a short film named Darren and a short film named Lover Girl, as well as written the script The Birthday for someone else, and most recently another script called Straight Talk, which hasn't been produced yet. And this is another episode of Coffee Break. What is the point within your creative process that you decide more times than not a character's fate? That's a great question. I'd say usually in my works, I almost always already have a character's fate planned out or decided. It's really the way that it plays out that it may change more than once or be fleshed out more than I originally planned. I also usually change or tweak some of the steps or events that'll lead to that character's fate. And I think at this point in my creative experience, I'd only consider changing a character's fate if I got enough feedback or critique to, really change my mind on that or sway me that way. Question number 2 is, once you have a character's fate decided, how often, percentage-wise, would you say that fate has changed? That's a really tough one. I'd say it's kind of hard to give it like a specific percentage. But I'd probably say between 20 or 30%. Once I have an idea or a story in my head, my fates or endings for the characters don't usually change that much. The only reason they would change that much is I find a reason. I need to change the story or an outcome of an event. Or certain circumstances will allow me to keep the story the same. What was the main reason for the change? Fans who love them convince you, you fall in or out of love with them, the story shifts while editing, or your editor has made you change it because it made sense to go the other direction. The only film project I've ever really had fans or following for was my web series, The Adventures of Serena Berg, which I made back in 2016. The thing I loved most about making that was because since it was already an adaptation of a play that existed, I felt I had the creative freedom to expand on or modernize certain events, but the storyline itself pretty much stayed the same. I'd say the only time I remember changing a character's fate was to flesh out their story arc more, and make the audience empathize with and understand them more. See, in the original adaptation of Cyrano de Bergerac, the story was that this character was kind of a womanizer, and it was inferred that they cheated on their spouse, and that was their mini storyline. So in my adaptation, I made my character gender bent, made them a woman, and named her Lissa. And originally I was going to keep the storyline with her and her partner Rags to be that of a cheating scandal. But somewhere down the line, actually in the middle of filming episodes, we decided to change that storyline to flesh it out even more, and make it more authentic and human. What we ended up doing was adding 1 or 2 more episodes to transform it from a scandal into just a big misunderstanding. And that way Lissa's character wasn't made out to be the villain. And I also just want to say, this was back in 2016. It was so long ago, I can't remember that much. If this decision was influenced by some of our fans, or if it was decided by us, the creative team. And looking back and reflecting on this choice, I don't think it created a better storyline than what I had originally planned, because thinking about it, I realized that we kind of relied really heavily on the miscommunication trope. And so I think from a writing standpoint, it didn't do much to improve the relationship between the two characters. I think it definitely fleshed out the storyline, but I don't think it did much to help the relationship. Tell us about one character you came particularly fond of or grew to despise that you fleshed out more for your audience, and how with that character you went about giving them the depth you needed to make sure the audience stood up and took notice. I mean, the first character that comes to mind is my most recent main character. It's the main role in my latest film, Lover Girl, who's Dakota. To backtrack a little bit to further explain this answer, part of my creative process, even before writing the script or the outline, is just spending a lot of time on the characters first. And once I have the basic idea or the story in my head, I'll think of what characters I want or need for this story, and then I'll just flesh them out as much as I can. I'll give them as many qualities and flaws and quirks and preferences I can think of to make them feel like more of an actual person rather than a character. I try to create their persona, or who they are, separate from the story. When editing a script, I'll always share it with my writer friends and other peers I have to get as much feedback as possible. And sometimes that'll also help me make the character development much stronger and tell me if I need to make any changes to the character to make the story better or whatnot. And I think it definitely helped that Shawna T. Hunt, who played Dakota, gave such a strong and believable performance to make the character so loved and I don't know, admired. Give us a non-spoiler moment in which a character spoke out against your judgment and changed something benign, but that ultimately might turn into a big deal. I can't really think of anything specific character-wise aside from the storyline change that I talked about earlier in The Adventures of Serena Berg. But actor-wise, I'd say the biggest thing that changed was probably just dialogue tweaks, at least from, script to screen. I can't think of anything major that would have affected a scene or a storyline aside from someone just adjusting a phrase or saying something a different way. And that's it with the questions. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. I'm most active on Facebook. You can just search my name. There's not a lot of Shawna Khorasanis out there, so it should be easy to find me. What's next for me is I'm hoping to produce Straight Talk this year. And I have a couple other ideas for scripts in mind, so hopefully I'll write those in the next several months and see what happens with that. You can follow along with Lover Girl's progress. It's currently in the festival run and has been accepted to about 5 festivals and 1 showcase so far, so we're fairly successful so far. But we have a Facebook and Instagram if you want to keep along, if you want to follow along with updates and find out where to watch it once it's available. It will be available on YouTube towards the end of the year. And that is about it. These are really great questions, Joe, so thank you. They were hard but challenging, and I like them because they made me sit down and really think about my process. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this episode. And again, thank you.
Surprise! It's your favorite transgender asshole.
We can't ever let that tradition die.
It's not gonna happen.
You'll have to do better than that to discourage me.
Okay.
Hey, it's me again. So my plane leaves tomorrow. You don't want to see me, that's fine. But I still need my stuff back. Okay? So I will see you later. Bye.
When was the last time you left the house? Please call me back.
Dad!
Hi, Molly.
Babe. You look like garbage. So, talk to me.
He's the one leaving, but I'm the one who has to move him out of my life. And I don't know how to do that.
First, we're gonna remember that he's the one who decided to leave behind the life you two built and move to fucking Vienna or wherever. Okay, now we figure out the easy stuff.
Nothing's easy.
Okay, come on. The bookshelf in your living room? Definitely yours.
How can you tell?
I haven't seen him read. If you want to be able to move on and be okay again, you've got to tell him everything you never got a chance to. Trust me. It's therapeutic as shit.
Coming. Hi. Hello.
Darren?
Darren's my best friend.
Look, I know this is hard, but it'll be good. For both of us.
It's like macaroni and cheese. You just switch. It's perfect. Yes, I love it. Hey guys. Hey. Hi. Hello.
I know the preferred form of lesbian wooing is staring at her until she falls in love with you, but sadly, it doesn't work like that. You have to ask her out now.
How?
You walk up to her and you ask her out.
But Cam, No buts. I'm tired of watching you pine over a girl he won't even go after directly. I made myself look like an idiot in front of her. I'm an embarrassment.
Girl up.